Good morning, dear students. In today's class, we are going to study EVS lesson, class 4th standard of CBSE board, lesson number 11, force, work and energy. So let's begin our lesson in detail. 11 lesson, force, work and energy. Okay, so in this lesson actually they have described about the what do you mean by the force, what do you mean by the work, and what do you mean by the energy in simple form from the basic onwards, and that is described in detail till the 10th standards. Okay, so in 4th standard, what is mean by the force? It is explained that a push or pull acting on an object is called as the force. For example, a object is there, okay, a box is there, okay, a cylindrical box is there, okay, and if anyone is pushing, the direction of the force, you can see this is known as the push, okay, and when we just pull towards us, okay, that is known as the pulling. Okay, so whenever a push or pull acting, this is an object, okay, so when a push or pull, whenever a push or pull act on an object, that process is called as the force. Okay, so here whenever we applied a force to an object, there may be the change in the shape, or they may change the place from one place to another place. Okay, so here the definition of the force is a push or pull acting on an object is called as the force. And in force, when we are applying the force, there may be change in the shape of an object, and they may change the place of an object. That means they may move from one place to another place. Okay, so this is the concept of the force one. Next, we are having the type of force. We are having first type, that is the gravity, and second is the friction. Now the concept comes, what do you mean by the gravity and what do you mean by the friction? So here the gravity means the force that pulls object downwards towards the center of the earth is called as the gravity. The force, okay, like a tree is there, okay, and suddenly an apple falls down, okay, why it is not moving upwards, why it is just moving downwards? Because that apple get attracts towards the center of the earth, okay, and that is only known as the gravity. That means the force that pulls the object towards the center of the earth, that is known as the gravity. Sir Isaac Newton, he was the great physicist and astronomer also. So he has explained the concept of gravity in detail. Now next, for example, a falling of an apple, when we just believe the ball, okay, at certain height, and just believe that ball, so it always move in the downward direction. So that is also the example of the gravity, because that both ball and that apple get attracted towards the center of the gravity. And next is coming to the friction. So what do you mean by the friction? Now here what happened? Whenever any object is there, we just hold at certain height and we just throw it down, it will move in downward direction. But here in the friction, what happens? The force that is present where the two objects are in contact with each other, like in carom, if this is the carom, okay, and in that carom we just push this a small coin, okay. So what happened exactly? This just one piece of the coin just move to some distance and it gets stopped. So here both this carom set desk and these coins are both in contact with each other, okay. So what the force that is present where the two objects are in contact. So this coin and this carom set in contact with each other, and that oppose the motion. So both are then opposing to motion of each other. Both they are just opposing to motion of each other, and that is only known as the friction. So in friction, what happens? The object continuously that will not move. That will move to a certain distance and just stop there, and that is only known as the friction. Okay. In friction, what in gravity actually the object just fall down, but in friction it just stop at certain point. Okay, it will just slowly stop at certain point. Okay, and for example, if there is no friction, what will happen? Object will continuously move or continuously fall. Okay, but if there is more friction, the object will not move at all. Okay, means that object not able to move, not a single for a minute distance, or for a few kilometer, or we will say few distance, that object will not move, and that is due to the friction. Okay, when there is a more amount of friction is available. For example, in smooth surfaces there will be having no friction, but in the rough surfaces we'll be having the friction. Okay, next, what do you mean by the work now? Okay, now what do you mean by the work? Work is said to be done when the force applied on an object causes it to move through a distance in the direction of the applied force. For example, here is the object. Okay, this is the box, cylindrical box. Okay, and just we are applied the force, so it will move certain distance. Okay, so what happened here? A work is said to be done when a force is applied, okay, on an object. This is the object. When a force is applied on an object, okay, and that causes an object to move certain distance in the direction of the applied force. Okay, it is not moved over here. It is not moved over here. Okay, so that place only is in the direction of the force, and that is only known as the work done. So it may change the shape, and it may change the place. Okay, work. Like kicking of football, okay, throwing of ball. So that all are the examples of the force. Now next, why we are using the machine nowadays? We are using the machine for each work, because that makes our work very easier one, and that task can be completely that we can complete that task within a few seconds. Therefore, we are using the machine. Okay. So here we are using some examples of the machine. So we are having the lever. When we use a spoon to open a lid of a can, that time we say that spoon act like as a lever. Okay, like pulley exam. Whenever just we are lifting the water from the well, that that time we can use the pulley. Wheel and axle. So that means whenever we used to just load the material in a truck, that time we used and axle and wheel, okay, to load in that truck. Next is screw. Everyone know, as with the help of the driver, we just put a hole in a particular area. Okay, that for screw we are using. And in wedge, at least one inclined plane is there, like an axe. So one part is an inclined plane. So whenever we use to cut any object, like an axe we are using to cut the wood. So that is an example of wedge. Now, what do you mean by the energy? Okay, so in energy, the ability to perform any type of work is called as energy. If a person is having more amount of energy, that means he or she has a particular lot of energy that particular person or that particular girl is having. Okay, so the ability to do work, that means a particular person is having the more energy to do that particular work. Okay, so we are having the various forms of energy. So what do you mean by the energy first? Ability to do work. Ability to do work. Okay, that is known as the energy. More the energy, more the particular work should be done. Okay, less the energy, less work will be done. Okay, that kind of directly proportional they are. So here various forms of energy we are having. We are having chemical energy, mechanical energy, mechanical energy, third, heat, fourth, light, fifth, electrical energy, sixth, magnetic energy, and seventh, sound energy. Okay, these are all the forms of the various forms of energy: chemical energy, mechanical energy, heat, light, electrical energy, magnetic energy, and sound energy. Okay, these are the 7 forms of energy, and each form convert like an example of the plant in photosynthesis. The sun, that is solar energy, is get converted to the chemical energy by the plant, and then chemical energy is utilized by the plant. Okay, as a autotroph plant, so they prepare their own food. So each form will convert into another form. Okay, like in the electrical, like solar energy is converted into, like solar means light energy is converted into electrical energy when we are using the heat from the sun. So that means light energy is heat energy is directly converted. Light energy also converted into electrical form. Heat energy also converted into the electrical form. So that we are going to study in next part. Now next, what are the sources? These are the forms of the sources. Now these kinds of energy where we are getting from. Okay, so these are the sources of energy. Okay, so in sources of energy, the first comes the sun. Okay, sun is the main source of energy in our earth. Okay, so from the suns we are getting the radiations, that is the heat and light, and that is only known as the solar energy. So plants use the solar energy to make their own food in the chemical form. Okay, so and the solar energy is also used to convert into electrical energy. Like in solar panel, most of the people use the solar panel, okay, in their home. So all the radiations from the sun, okay, they are just captured in one solar panel, and in that solar panel that convert that solar energy into the electrical energy, and that we can utilize at our home. Okay, so that means each energy form is converted into another form of energy. Next, moving to the water. Second source of energy is water. First is sun, second is water. So here by the flow of water, okay, by the flow of water, whenever there is the flow of water, that is also one kind of energy. The flow of water, just at an height, if it is dam is there, okay, and from the dam the flow of water will just flow out, and here the turbine will be there. So this turbine will rotate in a great speed, and that generate the electricity. Okay, that electricity is known as the hydroelectricity, because hydro means water, and generation of the electricity is known as the electricity. Okay, so this is the second, that is water. And third source of energy is our wind. So wind means everyone know that moving form of air is known as the wind. So whenever the more amount of air is present, okay, in atmosphere, that time the wind used to come, and when the air comes, actually that rotate the turbine. That means everyone knows the windmill is there, and that is in the Gujarat, most part of that Gujarat. That blow of the air will just rotate the turbine, and the turbine will make to generate the electricity. Okay, so these are the sources of energy is in detail. So in this lesson, actually what we have studied, what is the force and what type of what is the force, and next we have just to move to the what type of forces we have studied, and next is what do you mean by the energy, what do you mean by the work done, and what type of energy we are getting, and how many energy sources we are having, and forms of energy we have studied, and these are the topics that we have covered in this lesson in detail. And in the next video, I will be making a solved questions of this lesson of CBSE board, and that I will just upload in the next video. If you like my video, just like it, share it, and subscribe my channel. Thank you.